What's up, Gator Nation? We're here to bring you this video. Florida made it official that they have decided to sign Wisconsin transfer quarterback Graham Mertz. They made it official yesterday on their Twitter page. It's been known for a couple of weeks that Mertz was likely coming to Gainesville, and now it's just public knowledge and everybody knows, and pen went to paper, and he's a Florida Gator. No matter what you think about this signing, at the end of the day, Florida needs a quarterback. They need a quarterback with experience. Regardless of how many interceptions that quarterback may have thrown, experience is a pretty big deal in today's age. And I think Mertz is while not an elite addition, it is an addition, and I don't think it's as bad as public perception is making it out to be. And actually, we're going to watch his high school highlight tapes, which I know a lot of people do not care about, seeing we have seen him play in college already, but I figured we'd watch some of his highlight tape in high school and see kind of the upside, I guess you could say, that he has. Now, he's from Kansas, and he was actually the Gatorade Player of the Year in Kansas in 2018, and he put up some insane numbers. Granted, he is playing against competition in Kansas, which is not very great by any means. But just looking at his stats, I mean, you'll see him at the beginning of his highlight video here. We'll go ahead and start it. He threw for 3,883 yards and 51 touchdowns his senior season. Those are insane numbers for a high school quarterback. And what you're going to see here with Mertz, and you've seen it at the college level, he is your prototypical pocket passer at quarterback, I would say. He's not slow, but he just doesn't run. He just, for whatever reason, he is always looking to throw the ball. There's nothing wrong with that, assuming you have a decent offensive line. What I do like about Mertz a lot is he seems pretty comfortable in the pocket. He does throw off of his back foot a lot in these highlights, and I think at Wisconsin he kind of showed he still does that, especially with a turnover proneness. I think he decides when he's going to throw the ball, before the receiver gets to where he's supposed to go, which leads to a lot of interceptions, but it also leads to a lot of impressive throws. Now, he does have a massive arm from everything that I've seen. He throws a beautiful spiral. He has really good mechanics. And the thing I like about him a lot is he can change his arm angle and not really lose any kind of velocity or power on his throws. As you can see on that highlight, that was kind of a typical drop back, and then let it rip. There are times, and I think you see it more so at Wisconsin than anywhere. I don't know about on his high school tape, where he kind of sidearm the ball, which is very needed sometimes, especially when you're trying to get a ball off quick and a defender is in your face. And he's 6'3". He can definitely get away with doing some of those sidearm throws versus a shorter guy. But I do like his upside, I guess you could say, in the Florida offense. I think what ultimately it's going to come down to is whether or not they can get this upside that you're seeing right here on his film. There's just a nice throw right there. Just whether or not they can get the upside that he showed in high school. I mean, we're talking about a kid that was, I think, a consensus top 100 recruit in the nation, top 5 quarterback prospect in the nation. And he had offers from, almost everyone. I feel like I think Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, they all offered. I don't know if he could have committed to any of those schools, seeing they probably got other commitments before he committed. I think he committed to Wisconsin. I don't know if it was early or not, but that was the only place he visited from what I saw on his profile. So I'm assuming he visited and committed there pretty early. But again, like I said, I mean, you can't judge him not all the way, but you can't fully judge him on the fact that he's thrown a lot of interceptions in college. We'll go over that in a minute. But I mean, Florida's a different system. He's going to have different receivers to throw the ball to. He's going to have Wisconsin has a really good running game, so I won't knock Wisconsin there. But Wisconsin has never been good throwing the ball. You can go look at any offense that they've ran, basically. They've never been a great passing team, at least that I can remember. They've always been really good running the ball. And whether or not that's because they just don't have the athletes at receiver, They, have too many tight ends on the field, whatever that may be. I try not to knock Mertz way too much for his, lack of production or whatever you want to call it. Not being extremely productive and efficient while he was with Wisconsin. And we'll watch a couple more highlights. It's almost over anyways. But, I mean, you can see here he's okay. He's fine moving around. He's not like he sits in the pocket the whole time. He does move around. He just decides not to run the ball very often, which is, again, not a problem at Florida, especially with an offense that has a lot of play action. You can kind of offset having a less athletic quarterback with play action, but you also have to have a good offensive line. I'm not worried about the running backs of Florida. We know they're good. Okay, so last highlight here. And then we will go look at his recruiting profile that I mentioned previously. Now, we're looking at the On3 because it shows all the websites' rankings. On3 was not around when he was a recruit, but you can see here 247, ESPN, and Rivals all had him very highly rated. He was the number 176 player in the nation on 247. 21 in the nation on ESPN, and 42 in the nation on Rivals. The consensus, I guess 247 had him as the number 2 quarterback or number 2 player in Kansas, while ESPN and Rivals had him as the number 1 player in Kansas. But I mean, once again, he has the upside. Now we've seen 4 years of him in college, so you can say we've seen his upside, and it's not great. We'll look at his college stats. Pull those up right now. But yeah, obviously you see 38 touchdowns to 26 interceptions. Not great. But I will say that he did start or play a lot as a redshirt freshman in 2020. So that's good. He has early experience at Wisconsin. Granted, he was still turnover prone. He's been turnover prone every single year. 2021 was an all-time low. He actually had more interceptions than touchdowns. Just not great at all. Didn't even pass the 2,000-yard passing mark. And he improved a little bit in 2022. 19 touchdowns. So it's a pretty big deal. Improvement, at least, I would say. He averaged more yards per attempt than he averaged the past 2 seasons. And that was with the down Wisconsin team as well. So at least he showed a little bit more upside. And the main thing Florida's getting from this is they're getting a quarterback with experience. Why is that a big deal? Well, let's go look at Florida's quarterback room first before we really break down where he ranks on our commitment list. I do have him projected immediately to be number 1 on the depth chart. Jack Miller just has never shown enough, whether it be the spring game or the bowl game. He just has not shown any kind of upside whatsoever. No matter what you think about that, at least Mertz, he's 3-year starter. He's played good in some games. Granted, most of the time they play good teams, he has not played great. But again, that goes back to, the athletes that Wisconsin recruits in their receiving core. How good are they? I mean, how many Wisconsin receivers do we see in the league year in and year out? Not many. So I think you got to give Mertz somewhat of a benefit of a doubt. Now, being skeptical, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't blame anybody. But the amount of just negativity and backlash against Mertz on the message boards that I've seen is absolutely insane. I think you at least need to let it play out throughout the spring and summer until we get some reports on him. Again, I know Florida's a different offense in Wisconsin. It's a more open and spread style offense. So, I mean, you saw his high school film there. It was a shotgun, spread them out, throw it around kind of offense. So you never know what you're going to get. Maybe you unlock a lot of that potential that we never saw with Mertz at Wisconsin. But I do think he is going to start over Jack Miller, who I have second on the depth chart. And for right now, I have Max Brown at 3, Jaden Rashada at 4. I think Rashada will probably beat out Max Brown pretty quick, but you never know. I did like Max Brown a lot in his high school highlight film. He put up great stats as well. So that's not a knock on Rashada at all, and I'm not doubting Rashada's talent. I just think, Brown having an extra year on Rashada and it seemed like he had somewhat decent upside. I do think I'll keep him at 3 for now until we get some more reports on Rashada once he gets to Florida. But again, why Mertz is such a huge deal to me, you can look at these classes of the 3 quarterbacks we had on the roster prior to Mertz. You're getting a fifth-year player in Mertz versus a redshirt sophomore, Jack Miller, redshirt freshman in Max Brown, and a true freshman in Jaden Rashada. That was honestly setting up to be a disaster. I think Mertz is, at least at the beginning of the year, going to be a far better option than anything Florida had. Again, not knocking Rashada, not knocking Max Brown. I just think Mertz is, his experience is going to be very valuable, even if it's just as a leader on the field. I think he will improve Florida, and at least be worth another win or two compared to what we had on the roster previously. There is the breakdown on the quarterback depth chart. So now we can go look at the commit list. And this is not a final commit list, as there's still a month until the second signing day. But this is looking like it's going to be definitely a majority of the class. Now we're just going to wait on some transfer portal players to commit. As Florida, I'm assuming they're going to sign at least 5 to 8 more players to the transfer portal, unless they take any upside high school players. There are some guys that I really like a lot that are, low rated 3 stars that I really believe that Florida should go after. But I don't know about their, academic situation and whatnot. So we'll look here. Currently have 23 commitments for the 2023 class. Funny, 23 commits in the 2023 class. Now, Taraja Mitchell, I don't believe is official. He may be the Ohio State linebacker. So I have him in here. But you can see Mertz down here in the gold. He is number 17 out of 23, so not very highly rated. But, that's only because 247 gave him an 88 score in the transfer portal rating. So he's a mid to low level 3-star according to 247 Sports. So he only gets a 4 on the talent score. Even if he could deserve to be higher. Like I said, we've talked about multiple times in the video. Ton of potential. Now, how much potential do you have in your 5th year in college? That's up to a lot of you to decide. A lot of people would say you've already shown your potential, but again, different offense, different situation, different coaches, different athletes on offense playing with them. You never know. But I do have him 17th, right behind Treyon Webb, right in front of Gavin Hill. Jaden Rashada, the other quarterback that signed, is number 1. We've already talked about that before. But what we're going to do actually in my next video is we're going to go over this entire list right here. So if you're looking forward to that, I'll be planning on coming out with that hopefully by this weekend, New Year's weekend. If not, it'll be next week sometime, where we're going to go full review of the 2023 class. And then, we'll do another one probably a month later after we do the second signing day, and just kind of do a wrap-up on the entire class as a whole and any more transfer portal additions that Florida may add. But that'll be it for this video. Florida signs Graham Mertz to essentially be their starting quarterback. You can think otherwise if you want, but I strongly believe he is going to be the number 1, at least for the first 3, 4, 5 games next season. If he's struggling, you never know. We could quickly see Rashada or Brown or Miller, whoever it may be. But for now, that's going to be Florida's starting quarterback in 2023, I believe. So, Gator Nation, I suggest you support him as best as possible. He's a Gator at the end of the day. All the negativity doesn't do any good. So, let's be positive, be happy, and hope for the best for Mertz. And hopefully he's going to be a great Gator quarterback. Maybe pull a Auburn quarterback. I'm forgetting his name right now. The Auburn quarterback, Bo Nix, that went to Oregon. Hopefully we can get that out of Graham Mertz like Oregon got out of Bo Nix. Either way, Florida will be fine. A quarterback will step up, I believe. I don't think it's going to be as doom and gloom as everybody makes it appear to be. Whether it is Mertz, whether it is Jack Miller, whether it is Max Brown, or whether it is Jaden Rashada, I think we'll be okay. I think this year 2 is going to be at least a decent jump compared to year 1. I think they'll do better than 6-6, no matter what you hear from public perception or the negative message board Florida fans. I do think the future is bright. I do think Mertz is better than public perception. But until the next video, which is going to be the full class review, if you could like and subscribe to my channel, I would greatly appreciate that. And until then, go Gators.